Okay, let's really dive into this. Have you ever, really stopped and wondered, why do I make the choices I make?
Mm.
Why some people just seem driven, always competing, needing to get to the top?
Yeah, while others are constantly looking for, like, the next big adventure, something new.
Exactly. And then there are folks who find their real happiness in just quiet stability, safety, comfort.
It's one of those fundamental questions about being human, isn't it? We
Yeah.
see this incredible variety in how people live their lives.
Totally. The jobs they pick, the way they handle relationships, even, like you said, the car they drive, it feels like there are these deeper currents guiding us.
There really are. And for this deep dive, we've been digging into insights that came up around Norman Doidge's book, The Brain That Changes Itself. It's fascinating stuff.
Oh, absolutely. The book covers a huge amount, but the material we're honing in on presents this, well, surprisingly simple idea about these inner forces, but simple in a profound way.
Yeah, our mission here really is to unpack that core concept. The idea that there are basically three main systems in our brains, quietly shaping, well, pretty much everything.
From the big life choices, your career, who you partner with.
Right down to smaller things like what color grabs your eye, or even the kind of videos you scroll through online.
And here's where it gets really interesting, I think. It goes beyond just cool brain science. The sources strongly suggest that getting a handle on these concepts, it can be genuinely transformative.
It's like holding up a mirror to your own motivations.
Understanding this deep wiring inside you, it could be the key. The key to understanding why you want what you want, why you feel drawn to certain things, and maybe finding a path that feels truly, authentically yours, a path with more meaning.
It definitely offers a powerful lens for self-discovery.
So let's get into these three pillars. The core idea is that our major decisions are driven mainly by three different brain systems: dominance, stimulation, and balance.
Right. And we should probably say we're skipping the really heavy neuroscience here. No need to get bogged down in, like, specific brain regions or chemicals.
No, the real power, as the source material suggests, is in just grasping the concepts, seeing how these drives play out in real life, in our behavior, our choices.
Exactly. Because once you start looking at things this way, those big questions, like, why does one person chase status and luxury?
While someone else is all about, starting creative projects, bouncing from one thing to the next.
Where a third person values, above all else, just building a stable, nurturing home life, it starts to make sense. You see the different poles.
Okay, so let's tackle the first one. Dominance.
Dominance, yeah. At its core, this is that innate urge to be better than others, to excel, to win, to achieve some kind of superiority.
And you see this everywhere, right? Wanting to be number one in your class, or the best athlete on the team.
Or earning the most money, having the biggest house, writing a book that everyone hails as the best, that kind of thing.
The material points to people like Elon Musk, his drive with Tesla, SpaceX.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty clear example of a massive dominance drive in action, pushing boundaries, leading.
Definitely. And it's interesting, the sources note that while some people with high dominance are very sort of outwardly focused on showing it, talking about being the best, wanting to stand out.
Right.
Others are more internally driven. It's less about ego, maybe more about achieving mastery or making a huge impact,
Right.
building the best possible company, solving the toughest problem, that kind of thing. They might not need to shout about it.
That makes sense. And historically, you can see why this drive evolved, right? In early human groups, standing out, being dominant.
Could mean better resources, higher status, better chances to reproduce, survival stuff.
The sources do mention that, statistically speaking, the system tends to be stronger on average in men, but obviously it's not exclusive to men at all.
No, not at all. And it's worth mentioning the potential downside, too. If that dominance drive isn't balanced, it can tip over into ruthlessness, maybe prioritizing winning over ethics or relationships.
Sure. And you see it reflected in consumer choices, too. That desire for status symbols.
The Mercedes S-Class example they use.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or even consuming content specifically to, get ahead, gain some kind of competitive edge.
Thinking about athletes, Serena Williams comes to mind. Just that absolute relentless focus on dominating her sport. The training, the intensity.
A perfect example.
It's a powerful display of that dominant system. And the material rightly notes that even for someone like her, life involves navigating that intense drive alongside other needs, like family. It's always a balance.
Okay, let's shift. Pillar number 2, stimulation.
Stimulation. This is completely different. This is the craving for what's new, novelty, excitement, change.
Yeah, if balance is about comfort in the familiar, Stimulation is about seeking out the unfamiliar. These are the people who get restless with routine.
Totally. They were drawn to travel, trying new things, exploring different ideas, and maybe constantly scrolling YouTube or TikTok, just looking for that next interesting thing.
And it's different from dominance, isn't it?
Yes.
Someone high in dominance might want a fast car for the status.
Right.
But someone high in stimulation might choose, say, a Tesla. Not for status necessarily, but because it's cutting edge. It's new. It's different.
Exactly. Their style might be more about uniqueness than convention. Quirky clothes, bold patterns, maybe ripped jeans when everyone else is dressing up.
Yeah, and careers often lean towards creativity or jobs with lots of variety, maybe even a bit of unpredictability.
Historically, you can link this strongly to exploration. That human urge to see what's over the next hill, find new lands, new resources.
And in terms of what people buy, they're drawn to unique stuff, right? Maybe niche products, the latest gadget.
Experimental things. And colors, often drawn to bright, bold colors. Oranges, yellows, things that pop.
When they watch content, it's often for fresh ideas, inspiration, or just the thrill of discovering something totally new.
Steve Jobs is often brought up here. His obsession wasn't just building computers, it was revolutionizing things. The design, the whole experience.
The iPhone moment. Yeah.
That constant push for the next new idea, that's high stimulation. Now, the material notes, it can lead to restlessness, maybe finding it hard to stick with things once the shine wears off.
Sure, I could see that.
But channeled effectively. That drive is behind so much world-changing creativity and innovation. It's a source of incredible energy.
Okay, third system. Balance.
Balance. This is that deep, fundamental desire for stability, for safety, consistency, and a strong aversion to risk.
People driven strongly by balance, they prioritize predictability, security. You see this very clearly in parenting, maybe.
Oh, absolutely. Choosing safe environments, predictable routines, often putting the child's need for security above their own desire for, say, adventure or personal achievement.
Nurturing is key here. Connection, loyalty, finding deep meaning in building a stable home, raising kids, caring for pets, fostering those reliable relationships.
The material does mention a statistical tendency, again, carefully worded, for women, especially mothers, to have a stronger balance system. It ties into biological drives for caregiving.
Right, but it also emphasizes that plenty of men are primarily driven by balance, too. Maybe gentler, less overtly competitive, more focused on connection and stability.
Definitely not gender exclusive. Historically, this drive is vital for group cohesion, right? Nurturing the young, maintaining loyalty, keeping the community safe and stable.
And it shows up so clearly in choices.
Yeah.
They might prefer comforting, familiar smells, soft florals, maybe vanilla.
And cars. Overwhelmingly practical, safe, reliable.
The Volvo stereotype exists for a reason.
Uh-huh.
Or the trusty minivan. Honda minivan mentioned specifically.
Yeah. And colors tend towards softer, calming shades. Blues, greens, things that feel stable.
I loved that detail in the source about how some balance-driven people treat their cars almost like family members.
Naming them. Yeah, caring for them meticulously. It links back to that nurturing instinct.
It really does. And thinking back to Serena Williams again.
Right, the dominance example.
Yeah, the sources touched on how she navigates balancing that incredible drive to win with her role as a mother. Her desire for family stability. It shows how even someone strongly wired one way still has to engage with the other system.
Which brings us to maybe the most crucial point of all from this material.
Yes, this is so important. Nobody is purely one of these things. Dominance, stimulation, or balance. We are all a unique mix.
A completely unique dynamic blend. That's the real key.
It's not about fitting into a box. It's the specific balance or maybe imbalance of these three forces inside you that creates who you are.
Exactly. It shapes your personality, your deep down motivations, and ultimately the kind of life you build and the meaning you find in it.
The material gives some really helpful examples of how these mixes play out, like someone high in both stimulation and dominance, but low in balance.
Like the narrator described themselves.
Yeah. That person might thrive in exciting, competitive fields, creative work, maybe entrepreneurship, but they'd probably find routine, predictable 9-to-5 work absolutely soul-crushing.
Right. Contrast that with someone high in dominance and balance, but low in stimulation.
Okay.
That could be your steady, successful business owner. Value structure, control, achieving goals, status perhaps, but actively avoids unpredictable situations or constant change.
Okay, makes sense. Or, another example, someone high in balance and stimulation, but maybe lower in dominance.
Maybe like a travel vlogger focused on wellness and connection. Or someone doing healing work.
Yeah, someone focused on exploring, connecting, comforting, but not necessarily driven by competition or climbing a traditional ladder.
And this unique internal recipe, it influences everything. Your career, sure, but also hobbies, who you're attracted to, where you feel comfortable.
Even the colors you like or the car you feel drawn to, it's all interconnected.
And this understanding, this is where that potential for finding deeper meaning and real insight comes roaring in.
Yes. The sources hammer this home. Knowing your own personal mix, which drives are strongest in you, which ones might be underdeveloped or out of whack, that is so essential.
It helps you understand why you feel the way you do, what truly motivates you from the inside out, not just what society tells you should motivate you.
And crucially, what will actually lead you to a sense of fulfillment, real meaning, not just ticking boxes of external success.
And the connection to life transformation here is, wow, it's incredibly powerful. The sources share one story that just perfectly illustrates this. It's quite moving.
It was a friend's story,
Yeah.
yes. She felt completely trapped, right, in a job she described as dead end.
Totally stuck. And she realized through encountering these ideas that her balance system was basically running the whole show. She was clinging to stability so hard.
And that it was suffocating her other needs, her spirit.
Exactly. Crushing her need for stimulation, for growth. And she started small, intentionally deciding to feed that starved stimulation drive just by taking a trip once a month.
Just that one small shift.
Yeah. And it cascaded. That led to a travel blog. The blog grew. Eventually, she quit the job she hated, built a whole new life around exploring, creating. She found her joy again. Her life completely turned around.
It's almost hard to believe, but it's such a stark example. Understanding your own wiring isn't just intellectual. It can genuinely empower you to make choices that align with who you really are. It can, like the source said, flip your life upside down in the best possible way, towards meaning.
And the narrator mentioned their own journey too, right? Going from feeling lost and broke to finding success by understanding and honoring their own high stimulation and dominance needs, not fighting them.
Right. Aligning actions with internal drives. So for you listening, this isn't just abstract theory. The sources really emphasize this. Understanding your dominant drives,
Which mix defines you?
can help you navigate those huge life decisions, career choices that actually fit. Understanding the dynamics in your relationships, why you click with some people and clash with others.
It can even help you spot potentially difficult or toxic situations or people where fundamental drives are just incompatible in a way that's likely to cause friction.
There was also that fascinating side note about biology.
Oh yeah, the loss aversion thing.
Right. How, from a survival standpoint, we're often wired more strongly to avoid losing something than we are to gain something of equal value.
Losing $100 feels way worse than the pleasure of finding $100.
Exactly. And that bias can really influence decisions, especially for people with a strong balance drive, reinforcing that need for safety and predictability.
It's another layer underneath it all.
So, wrapping this deep dive up, the big takeaway is this. Our choices, our passions, our struggles, even our sense of purpose in life, it's all profoundly shaped by this constant dance between our internal drives for dominance, stimulation, and balance.
And getting to know this internal landscape, it's not just interesting brain facts, as the material shows so powerfully. It's a direct path to deeper self-understanding. It's a tool for crafting a life that feels less like fulfilling external expectations and more like living out your own true nature, finding your meaning.
Yeah, it's not about judging these drives. Dominance isn't bad. Balance isn't weak. They're just different forces. It's about recognizing your own unique wiring, your personal mix, and how it shapes your journey.
So maybe here's a thought to leave you with. Reflect on your own life right now. How does your particular blend of dominance, stimulation, and balance show up? Think about your choices, big and small. Your job, your hobbies, how you spend your free time, your relationships. Maybe you'll see patterns you hadn't consciously noticed before. And then ask yourself, what might you gain? What new possibilities for growth, fulfillment, or maybe even profound change might open up if you consciously decided to explore and nurture those different parts of yourself?